Welcome, everybody. It's going to be, can you guys hear me? Elvia says yes. Okay, can you guys hear Chef Ruben? Chef Ruben, say something. Awesome. We're good. So welcome, everybody. Today we are going to be talking about, it's the very first cooking spot of fall 2021.
Yes, that's correct.
And we are going to be having cooking spots every other Friday for the next month and a half. So we want you to join in and check us out, right? Because this is basically our cooking show.
That's right.
It's the instructors being silly, not telling students what to do, and
food, playing with our food,
and
all that fun stuff.
trying to make some food, right? Until the Food Network picks us up. That's not going to happen. We don't want to get picked up. So today we are combining two things that you normally don't see, but are starting to see in a lot of kitchens, which is the infamous herb garden, okay? Everybody has a plantita now and behind their restaurants or at home. But if you're like me and you kill cactus, I don't know what to do with plants. Nor do I want to, well, I'm here to learn from Chef Ruben. Chef Ruben is the one that has taught himself and really done the research on how to keep plants alive. I just go look at them out in nature. So he's gonna walk us through how to start our own herb garden. And we actually have a couple that he started at STC. And then he's gonna kick it over back to me, and we are gonna feature our culinary mascot. You're gonna see her in a while. She's amazing. She's big, bold, and beautiful. And I'm not talking about me, okay? I'm talking about the mascot. So we're gonna come back, and then we're gonna make a pesto from scratch. So what to do when you have all these herbs? We're gonna do a pesto, and then we're gonna do a tomato basil soup, and we're also gonna do a little grilled cheese, 3-cheese grilled cheese with our pesto on it, okay? So we are gonna get started with how to start your own herb garden. And we are gonna kick it over to Chef Ruben and check out our brand new culinary mascot, who is, I wanna introduce you to, Chef Fernanda's on the camera, so she's worked, you know. All right, thank you guys for putting your emojis on there. Put your emojis. If you're in my class, you know why. Little plant emoji, thank you. All right, and we're back.
All right, okay. So this right here is our tomato plant. It has little hairs up the entire stem, and every one of those hairs is a possible root, right? So when I grow the tomato plants, what I like to do is I like to plant it as deep as I can, just to make sure that I have a really nice root system to start off with, right? There's a couple parts right here that they kind of go at a 90-degree angle. Okay. Those are the ones that I want to kind of clip. I don't know if you can see, let's see if I can see right here, right? I have one root this way, this little one here in the center. Those are what they call suckers, right? Suckers, right? I want to get rid of it just to make sure that it kind of grows up nice and tall first, and then I can worry about those growing, right? This right here has a big one right here on the top. Okay, so next thing I'm going to do is remove the plant. And this right here is the root system, all right? It's been growing in that container for a little bit, so the root system is getting a little bit tangled up. So I'm gonna make a little hole right here. Funny part is I have the tools here, but I'm gonna use my hand anyway. So I'm gonna dig, like I said, fairly deep. I'm gonna dig all the way to the bottom, because I want to grow this, or I want to plant it as deep as I can, just to make sure that I start off with a really nice root system, right? The roots that are here, I'm gonna kind of rub them a little bit just to kind of loosen them up, right? They're a little kind of mangled, a little wrapped up in themselves, and I want to kind of wake them up and get them a little ready to stretch their legs, right? They've been in a long car ride. They're a little, their legs are asleep, right? Once these roots are starting to kind of open up a little bit, it's ready to get planted. Right? So I'm going to go over the top, and I'm going to plant it. Try to center it on the tomato cage. Tomatoes are going to grow. Tomatoes need a good amount of support, so I want to make sure that it's just about centered in my tomato cage, that it's going to grow up nice and straight, and then all I'm going to do is cover it up. All right. Like I said, these planters are real nice because they keep the soil real nice and moist. Right. I'm going to press it down a little bit, right? And this is going to be our first plant, our first tomato plant that we have going here. Right. Once it gets here, you want to water it in. You can buy yourself your own kind of watering canister, or you can just get any gallon or any container, put a couple holes in the top, right? I actually drilled these holes in, and then that's what's going to be giving me a little bit of water, right? You want that just so it kind of takes some of that little moisture, and those roots can kind of start growing, right? It's going to grow up this tomato cage. This tomato cage is going to kind of be the support that it needs, so it can grow those nice, heavy, plump tomatoes without it kind of falling over on itself, right? I'm going to show you over here a little bit of maintenance. If we can kind of pan over a little bit to Big Bessie over here, right? Very, very nice and pretty. It's haircut time, right? Really, really nice and pretty. Really, really nice green, but there are a few spots. Right? I'm gonna give it a little bit of a turn. Right? I'm gonna show you her not so nice side. Right there, right? A little gray is showing, but that's okay. We're gonna take care of it, right? It's kind of growing a little bit everywhere, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna trim it. I'm gonna try to get it to grow more or less in the direction that I want it to grow. Okay, so parts of the plant that look a little damaged, or parts that are kind of growing a little bit further out than you want to, are the ones that I want to trim up, right? So now it has a nice little neat, right? It doesn't hang over too much. Down here. Another thing that I want to talk about is the flowers that are growing, right? The energy that the plant uses for these flowers right here, it takes a good amount of energy, right? If you're trying to let this go to seed so you can get some seeds for the next harvest, that's fine, right? But if you're not, if what you want is leaves, you can actually pinch these off, and it's going to spend its energy growing more leaves instead of those flowers, right? So kind of those buds that you see, if you don't want them around, we can kind of pinch them off, right? And now it's going to give us a little bit more leaves, right? On this side here, we have a little bit that overhangs, right? I don't want Bessie to kind of be growing out to the sides anymore. I want her to get nice and tall, right? So over here, I'm going to trim up on this side. And I'm going to trim a little bit right here, right? So it'll be a little more compact. Right? There. She's a whole new woman. All right.
So can I
Oh, absolutely. All right. All the stuff that we have here, all right, this is what we're going to show off with. This is going to be part of our soup. This will be part of our pesto and all other recipes that we have, right? Another plant that I wanted to grow is we have a little bit of peppermint. Right? And the peppermint is going to kind of be the same thing that we did with the tomato plant, right? I have a little herb garden that I have going over here. I got a little bit of rosemary looking happy. This right here is Thai basil, right? A little bit different than our regular sweet basil or Italian basil, right? But still very, very tasty, right? And in these planters, it is very, very happy, right? I have a space right here that I already designated, and this is where I'm going to add my peppermint. Right? Why? Because peppermint is delicious. Right? We'll grow some peppermint and we can use it for some dishes later on. Like what? Oh, I think it's time to go a little bit sweet. Right? Make some desserts. Make it really, really yummy. Right? So I'm going to cut a little bit of soil just to make a nice little hole in the dirt. Right? That's going to allow the peppermint to grow. Right? This soil, as you can see, has a good amount of moisture. I'm going to do the exact same thing that I did earlier. Right? You see that root system that's in here? Kind of give it a little shuka. Break it up a little bit. Make sure that it's ready to spread its wings and fly. All right. When it's ready to go, I need to go a little bit deeper. All right. And then once you have that, all you need to do is add a little bit of dirt around the ends, just to make sure that it kind of sits there really nice, and then it'll come right back together, right? Just like the other plant, you want to make sure that it has a little dirt all the way around, right? That it doesn't have any gaps. Kind of press it down a little bit so it sits properly. And then we're going to give it a little bit of water. All right. Like I said, these planters, they have a reservoir of water inside. It actually keeps the plants very, very happy. Right? I don't know. I think I do have some students in here. They might have went through the herb garden the beginning of the semester, right? End of last semester, over the summer. It was very, very hot. And Bessie was not happy. She was very cranky. She didn't want to grow. Temperature went down a little bit. We got these new planters. It keeps it very, very nice and hydrated. And she is growing wonderfully. So now I'm excited to see what else we can grow, right? And the more we grow, the more we can kind of put out on a plate. So like I said, we're growing some tomatoes so we can make some tomato soup in the future. We got tons of basil. So Chef Nadia is going to teach us how to make a pesto with the basil and tomato basil soup. So
Why need the basil?
teach us.
Where is it?
Oh, I got to wash it. I'm sorry. All right. Once you grow it, then you got to trim it. Then you got to wash it. All right. There might be a little dirt. There might be a little debris.
So, what happens if you find a bug? Let's say you have a restaurant, you have an herb garden, clip some herbs, right? As I did many, many a times. Clip some herbs, get some fresh basil for my desserts, for my salads. And all of a sudden I get a table that says, there's a bug in my dessert, ma'am. So then as a chef, I have to go over and apologize, right?
Charge them for the protein?
Yeah.
No.
And my way of saying, oops, it's too fresh was sometimes you get a little more farm than the table, right? And that made them laugh. And again, it's very difficult to get really, really fresh product, inexpensive, right? So when you do have your herb gardens. Herbs are,
It's like a little pom-pom.
I know, do a cheerleader show.
Yay, team!
So it can be extremely cost effective if you may have your own herb garden, because you'll notice, well, within the season, right? Because sometimes it is too hot for those herbs. Because you'll notice that herbs wilt really, 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 really fast. Okay? And it's really sad when fresh, beautiful, I mean, like, Rachel, our lab assistant, walked in here when we were setting up, and she was like, it smells like a garden in here. That's how she sounds. That's exactly how her voice sounds. It smells like a garden in here. And that's exactly what we want. We were like, oh yeah, that's awesome. That means our herbs are delicious. Herbs are so beautiful, fresh, you know. And when we have access to them, we need to try to showcase them in a very herbaceous way. So pesto, it's another version of salsa, in my opinion. Okay, or if you are familiar with Mexican cooking, pepián, which is basically a nut mole, pesto's the exact same way. Some of y'all might go to Starbucks, they have...
Can they hear me now?
If someone can hear Chef Ruben say, yes, say something, Chef.
Yes.
Oh,
There we go, we're back in business.
great. Did you change out the batteries?
No,
Oh, because I just changed out the batteries.
I think I was sabotaged.
Oh.
My mic was muted. So I don't appreciate whoever did that, but I'm looking at Fernanda because she is our producer, our executive producer. And
The sabotage. Okay, so like I was saying, pesto is kind of a spread. Okay, you can substitute different nuts, different cheeses, different oils, different ingredients, as long as you have kind of the fundamental basics of pesto. Now, the minute you replace the cheese with onion, it becomes a chimichurri. Okay, and we'll talk about that. Maybe we'll make one if I mess up or something like that. But the point is to have an herb-based spread, sauce, condiment, if you will. And that's what pesto is, okay? So we're gonna start off with about 2 cups of basil.
done
2 cups
and
of
done.
basil. And I know there's a recipe in front of me, but I'm gonna do it the way I like to do it, because that's the show, right? It's our show. So I start by first pulsing my pine nuts, okay? Roku food processor. Don't let this deter you from making your own pesto. You can do it on the metate or a motor pesto, okay, which is basically just anywhere that you can crush your nuts or your herbs, okay? I'm gonna do a nice
And I'm going to pick the basil.
pulse here. Woo.
Ooh. I
How many of you have
appreciate the
had
smell of
pesto?
basil.
Oh, I found a bug? No. Anyone had pesto before?
Yes. Was that a yes? That was
a yes to we hear Chef Ruben.
Oh. They don't want to talk no more? Okay.
Chef Ruben, I'm gonna use your bowl.
Done
Because I
and
need a
done.
bowl. Woo, thank you.
See? It's teamwork.
Where's my overhead? Can you do a overhead
Where's overhead?
shot? But it's
It's over
here,
here.
right? Yeah.
Put the bowl where you want it.
Gotcha. Okay, so I'm gonna do that exact same thing to Whoa, my garlic. Now you say, well, chef, why don't you just put it all together? All together. Not everything crushes at the same time, evenly, all at once. Okay, so what this ensures, I have my garlic there now. Now I can add my pine nuts. It's really just the pine nuts that I'm adding. Chef Ruben's grabbing a bunch of basil. Let me help him out.
Picking it as fast as I can.
Pick faster. It smells so good in here.
Basil makes me happy. Tomato basil, very happy.
Okay.
Tomato
Add your
basil and
basil
a
in
grilled
there.
cheese. Ooh.
I think that's about 2 cups. So we're good there. We're gonna pulse it a little bit. Whee.
I'm gonna pick a little more just in case.
Just to get nice and even on your basil. You're looking kind of like at a brunoise of everything, right?
Just a little small.
Where is
chunks.
my
What are we looking for?
little spatula?
Little spatula. Coming right up.
Thank you, chef. All right. Okay, we're looking good there.
Who's in here? Oh, we got some students in here.
We have lots of students in here. Okay. I have
Are they
my
actually paying
nuts.
attention?
Who knows?
Let's see if we see some yeses.
I'm gonna add my Parmesan, all of my Parmesan now.
I got one yes.
Yes, chef, we're paying
Anastasia, I got another yes.
attention.
Oh, look at that.
Anastasia loves to learn about food.
Oh,
She
Brittany.
likes.
Oh, Brittany said yes.
Brittany needs to learn recipes for her husband, right, Brittany? Just kidding.
Need to learn recipes
She's
for
like,
her.
She's like, my husband wants me to learn more stuff. So we have the Parmesan, your pine nuts, your basil, and we're mixing it all together nice and evenly on this beautiful Robocoup. And now we're gonna slowly add our olive oil, okay? What we're looking for here is enough oil to bind all the ingredients together. We don't want to over oil anything. At least I don't like over oiling my pesto. Okay. So as soon as your oil binds everything, you take it out and you can put it in a container, which we have here. And look at this. This can be served. Look at that. Beautiful. This can be served on toast, some eggs, with some eggs for breakfast. You can serve it with a sandwich, like a turkey pesto, a mozzarella pesto, tomato sandwich. Honestly, the possibilities are kind of endless.
Pasta.
You can serve it with pasta by itself. You can put it on a steak on top. Add a couple of chilies and it'll become a spicy pesto. Okay. Now what happens if you're allergic to nuts? Well, that's it. Too bad you can't have pesto. No, you can. Excuse me. You can replace the pine nuts for sunflower seeds, right?
Mm-hmm.
And or what else?
Sesame seeds.
Sesame seeds. I've never had one with sesame seeds, but that would be really cool. Okay,
Gotta try it out.
that's our pesto. Very easy, right? Any questions on the pesto? Bien fácil. Chef, can I add other herbs along with the basil? Yes. Yes, you can. You can add oregano in here. You can add mint in here. You can add, what's another herb? You can add chives in here.
Oh, yes.
Whatever your
Parsley.
garden produce, parsley, whatever your garden's overproducing, that's where pesto is the key there. This refrigerates really nicely if you keep it airtight. If you just keep it airtight in your refrigerator, you can keep it up to like a month, depending on your Parmesan, okay? But it is very, very good. So we're gonna save that for later, and we're gonna move on to our tomato basil soup. Those of you that have basics with Chef Ruben or any of the instructors here, you'll know that you should be doing, we are coming up to the labs where we're doing soups,
That's correct.
right? And we are soup people. We love soups. We love fideo, we love caldo de res, we love pozole, menudo, we love ramen, we love, what else do we love?
And allegedly, summer's about to be over, so it's
That's what they
allegedly almost soup weather.
Exactly, it's
It's soup
caldo
season.
weather, okay?
Right.
So we're gonna show you how to do a really quick soup. Very easy, with simple ingredients, and of course our herbs, right? Of course our herbs. So we're gonna go over to the burners.
Mm-hmm.
And we're also, when you think tomato basil, you think grilled cheese, right? Oh, cheese, right. We're also gonna show you how to make, we're gonna attempt to make a TikTok grilled cheese, and that's just because I see it on the internet a lot where people make really stretchy cheese. Is there a name for it besides stretchy cheese? Cheese overload? Cheeserama? Cheese wawas? No, that didn't work, but that was my favorite. So we're gonna make
Cheese
a,
wawas. If
a
that's
fo-
not what it is, that's what it is now.
I don't want it. We're gonna make a focaccia grilled cheese. The focaccia was made by Chef Ruben's students in his breads class. We're gonna add a little pesto to it. So we got burners.
We're done with the RoboCoupe.
Yes, chef.
All right. So we'll get it out of our way.
Okay, we're gonna start off with a little bit of olive oil. If you haven't taken professional kitchen essentials, you can ask the students, ask amongst yourselves.
And then go between that and the.
My class tasted, how many olive oils did we taste today? 6? 6 olive oils.
Was it 6?
At 8:30 a.m.? No, 7, because I made them try the nasty one. And then
Breakfast of Champions.
9 butters,
9 butters.
back to back. Maybe that's why my tummy hurts right now. All right. Got that good shot? Yeah. So we're going to start off with our onions. You know this process. You've practiced it in your classes. Saute your onions. You should be a pro at this by now. Saute your onions. You're going to also add your garlic.
Garlic. I love garlic.
I love garlic. Can we grow some garlic, chef? What about garlic? Can we save some money on garlic?
We're gonna need a huge garden because we go through garlic
No.
like nobody's business.
I love garlic. Okay. So our garlic is in there. Start seasoning it nicely. Notice that I threw it nice and kind of big in there,
Yeah.
right?
It'll make it harder for it to burn.
Harder for it to burn, and it'll release all that oil slowly. So it'll really give us that hint of garlic that we really want. After the garlic goes our carrots. Just a little bit of carrot to give that soup body.
Carrot.
And some, that's the recipe, chef.
They also give us some sweetness.
Some sweetness.
Yes. Sometimes tomato sauce, tomato soups get a little bad rap because they're a little too acidic. A little carrots in there will kind of help you out with that sweetness.
That's true. So don't forget to season as we go, right? I'm adding salt and pepper. Salt and pepper to this medley first. Once we have all this, now we're gonna add our tomatoes.
Just FYI, it's starting to smell good.
FYI.
Onions and the garlic, they make you happy.
Okay, we're gonna add our tomatoes.
Listen to that noise. That sizzle makes you know that you're cooking.
Gonna make sure that all our stuff is incorporated together. And here,
Everybody's really
gonna-
quiet out there. Nobody has any questions?
now, Chef, they're so quiet.
I'm telling
Add a
you.
little more salt and seasoning. Remember, every time we introduce something to our pot, we need to introduce some seasoning. Now, there's a lot of you in my class that love to say, oh, Chef Nadia likes salt. And you know what? My friend told me that yesterday as I was critiquing somebody's food. I said, this needs salt, this needs salt. This one's actually really well balanced. The other one, I don't know what he was doing. And she goes, homie, you really like salt, don't you? And I was so offended because I don't like salt. I like well-seasoned things. So I need to zoom in on this the camera. Where are we at?
Overhead?
Sure, yeah, overhead. So Edith isn't in this class, but I used her as an example yesterday. When I say add a pinch of salt, or chef, add a pinch of salt, is this a pinch of salt? Wait, where's the program? Right here. Is that a pinch of salt?
Maybe for a child.
When I say pinch of salt, wait, where are we? That's a pinch, okay? So for your future classes, don't be afraid of using salt, okay? Don't
Three
be afraid.
fingers.
3 fingers, a good old pinch. Don't want to speckle it. Okay, so our tomatoes are going. I'm gonna add a balsamic vinegar, just a little bit. I'm gonna do some thyme leaves, and we're gonna let it cook there for a good time and a good while. Oh, don't forget your broth either. Okay, add a little bit of broth, your desire. It could be chicken, it could be vegetable, it could just be water, don't matter. Your preference, because it's your soup. So we're gonna let her hang out there for about 15 to 20 minutes. In the meantime, we're gonna make our grilled cheese. What are the components for a grilled cheese?
Cheese.
Cheese.
Grill. Right?
Grill. Cheese and bread.
Cheese and
that.
bread.
We have some beautiful,
Carbs.
yes, focaccia. Focaccia. We have 3 cheeses. We have,
3 cheeses.
Chef, why is, have you ever had a focaccia grilled cheese, Chef?
I sure have.
You have? What you think?
I like it. I'm a fan of focaccia. Makes me very, very happy.
I recently had a
It's
focaccia.
nice and airy.
Yes,
right?
look at that.
When you open it up and you kind of see all those nooks and crannies. Right? A lot of places for that cheese to hide.
That's so cool. Look at that. Boom, 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 boom. A lot of hiding spots. I love it.
Yes.
What's all this white stuff? Chef, there's white stuff on your bread. What is it? It is mayonnaise.
Mayonnaise.
What? Mayonnaise.
Mayonnaise.
I like Ana Hernandez's Flores. I like
Oh, look at that.
her
She's
little-
got a big
little
old
emoji.
slice of cheese.
So one of the things that mayonnaise promotes is even searing and crispy, crispy, crispy outside. It's kind of like buttering your bread, but because there's so much fat content with the egg and the oil, it really sears and seals that top crust of your bread, giving it a different texture than the ooey gooey inside, right? So we are gonna make a couple of focaccia sandwiches, some grilled cheeses to go with our soup. When you're doing focaccia, when you're in the breads class and you're doing focaccia, you can also incorporate the cheese on top, the herbs on top, the meat on top, and then slice it like this and already have kind of a built-in cheese, built-in grilled cheese on the bread itself without doing this, okay? So again, possibilities with product are really up to your creative, your creative realm. Whatever, lo que tú quieras, whatever you can imagine with these products. So first we're gonna start off with some Gruyere. Gonna do a medley of Gruyere, some cheddar and what is this?
Cheddar Jack and some Monterey.
Monterey, I think, yes. And mozzarella. Okay. Notice I'm being very, very generous with the cheese.
Be very generous.
Why? Because I want to make that cheesy string thing. Oh, and I'm gonna add a little bit of my pesto.
Ooh.
Again, if you want to throw a slice of turkey in here, you can. Some ham, you can. Tomatoes, sure.
Now you're toying with my emotions.
Okay. Be very generous with the pesto, y'all. Very generous. This is where you really highlight both the bread and the basil, right? Okay. This is a monster. I mean, if we're gonna clip Bessie's beautiful branches, you better go Bessie or go home.
We gotta respect the leaves.
Gotta respect the herb.
That's right.
Okay. So I have.
And then we also have to grow big.
That's true. We have to go
grow home.
Grow big or grow home and grow home. Gonna add just a little bit of oil to my pan. So I want to make sure I coat everything. Put that extra olive oil there. Don't want too much of it. Could you add butter? Yes. Yes, you can. And I'm just gonna face it down and let it sear for a minute. Now, I am gonna finish it in the oven just because my oven is on and I wanna make sure that the cheese is nice and melted through. And that's not necessarily a bad thing because I want to make sure that, again, it's super ooey and gooey.
Mm-hmm.
Let's check back to our soup.
You're trying to get that crust.
Trying to. In God we crust. No. In cheese we crust. In basil we crust. All right. Let's see. Another thing about soups is you have to taste.
That's right.
Very important that you start tasting things in all your classes.
That soup is full of a whole bunch of fresh ingredients. Tomatoes, the herbs, all that stuff. And depending on how it grows, it's definitely how it's going to flavor your product. Sometimes it's a little sweeter. Sometimes it's a little more acidic.
You need to get some
I'm sorry,
spoons.
I just had to put my hands in there.
Put your
Smells
hand
good.
there. I was listening to an Italian chef talk about pasta sauce at his grandmother's house, and he said that there was a rule,
Look
and
at that
it
little
was
bubble right there.
that the pasta sauce went all day. It was simmering in his kitchen, in his childhood kitchen, all day. And the rule was, because he was like, there was always bread for dipping in the sauce, and then there was bread for dinner. He goes, but the rule was that if you ever walked in the kitchen, you stirred the sauce. That's the number one rule. And so he's like, every time we stirred the sauce, we also grabbed a piece of bread, dipped the sauce, just to make sure everything's okay. And I thought that was really sweet.
It's very tasty.
So it is okay to
what I
stir. Now, at this point, I would actually add a little sugar because I like my tomato basil a little more on the tangy side versus the salty side. Like I like a little hint of sweetness. Look at our grilled cheese. Oh no, there we go. Now we're gonna do a good old flipperoonie.
A little bit of sugar.
Oh my gosh, guys. I can knock on that. It's like she knows. Whoop. No, you're
That
gonna have
looks
some
pretty.
you're gonna have some casualties, okay? With the cheese.
All right.
But that's okay. Try
There's
to
a
keep
whole lot
it
of nooks and
intact,
crannies that are getting some cheese right now.
filled in. Oh. You want to add a little bit of butter to the pan, you can. Again, whatever feels good. Now, you didn't think we were going to make a grilled cheese today, did you? You thought we were going to make some fancy dish. But a grilled cheese can be fancy. This one most certainly is. So, as I am going to actually add a little oil. Just a little bit. Not too much. I'm gonna pop it in the oven. Yes. Oh yeah. It's gonna go in the oven for about 2 minutes. We're gonna check on our
Make sure
soup.
y'all getting nice
Soup
and
is
melted.
good. Ready to
Looking
blend,
pretty.
Chef? I think we're ready to blend.
Ready to blend?
Let's do it.
Cut across. Add the immersion blender.
Oh, smells so good. It smells so good. All it needs to be is cold outside. Yeah, I'm gonna go here.
Look
Oh,
over the
never mind, there.
stove.
Good, here.
All right. How's it taste?
It's good. It needs sugar.
It needs a little sugar?
It needs a
right
little
here?
sugar. Oh! Thank you. Is this spoon
Mhm.
clean?
Sure is.
I'm gonna add 1 tablespoon of sugar. And with that, give it a good go. Don't forget to take your time out. Time out? What did I do, Chef? I'm in trouble? No, not that
No.
time out. The other time out. Let me get rid of this. Will you get me a bowl and a small little plate, please? Thank you. Alrighty. Tastes very good.
It's looking yummy.
2 plates, like for soup. Okay. So for an immersion blender, all your blade is gonna be down here. You have 2 settings, low and high. You always wanna start low. And before you do it at an angle and splash everyone and yourself, I like to tip over my pot, obviously grabbing with a towel, protecting my hand. And then I like to blend a little bit, just to start, all this bottom at an angle. So I don't, again, splash all over, but I start blending.
Gradually
My
start
soup.
blending it all together.
Now, there's a huge debate. Tomato basil, super pureed or chunky and funky?
I like it pureed.
Super pureed? How do you guys like it? Super pureed or a little chunky and funky? What does the chat say?
The chat's not saying nothing. Let's see. Nothing. Chunky.
Chunky.
We got 1 vote for chunky. Oh. Here they all come. Oh, chunky. Chunky. Well, I guess I got outvoted. So are we going chunky or are we going super pureed? looks like even though I got outvoted,
You got outvoted.
I got outvoted. There's 4 chunkies, but I guess my vote was worth 5. So you are still short.
So everybody said,
Curated.
"Boo, Chef Ruben, get out of here."
No, I just won.
Oh, you won. No, you said I like mine smooth, velvety smooth.
Is that?
That's not. That's a little chunk.
Is it chunky?
Chunk in the funk.
Oh.
I think so. I would call this chunky.
Okay.
Would you? Right?
No, I got some chunks.
Do you mind plating the first one, and then I want to blend it to see what smooth the difference?
Sure.
Awesome. So you plate the one I don't like. Oh, never mind. There he
Oh,
goes.
see, so now we're gonna compete.
Hey, how's our grilled cheese? Let's check it. Ay, ay, ay. Oh. Let me see. Oh my gosh. We got a little over on that top, but I'm not mad at it. You know, I'm not mad at it because I like a little char and it's not too bad. Oh, yum. Okay. You want to tell them about the garlic, basil oil, Chef?
We have a little bit of basil oil that we got done right here. Right. Nice and simple. Right. Let's go for the overhead shot. I want them to see that kind of neon green that's coming through. Super pretty. All we did is grab some basil leaves. We threw them into some simmering water for a few seconds, gave them a nice little shock, and it actually got them really, really nice bright green. After that, we added them to some oil, gave it a nice little puree, and strained it. Right? Something like this is really, really nice to put on top of your soup. Just gives you a little bit more concentrated basil flavor, and it gives you a beautiful green color. So we're gonna go a little bit more pureed with the other basil soup. All right. So I'm gonna kind of plate this up a little bit. Want to make sure that your plate is nice and clean. So I'm gonna run through it really quick. Make sure I don't have any dirty rim. Let's have another vote. What do you want me to do with this basil puree? A little zigzag, a little swirl, some dots. What do we want? Swirl. You want me to swirl it?
They want you to swirl it.
You want me to swirl it? Dots.
Dots.
Uh-oh. Neck and neck.
What?
I'm gonna add a little bit of basil puree. I said what they want. What? A swirl. Okay, so they want a swirl.
Swirl.
Let's see how the swirl works.
Okay.
I gotta get mentally prepared for this. I need to make sure that it comes out nice. I only got one shot.
One shot. One
Let's
shot.
go.
3 swirls, 1 shot.
3 swirls. So I guess the swirls. See.
Ooh.
Ah.
Twilight Zone.
Swirl enough. There we go.
Awesome.
Oh, look at that grilled cheese.
Very, very nice.
See if we can zoom out a little bit. Right there.
Beautiful. So you have some grilled cheese pieces there. Okay.
Pesto's just peeking out saying hi.
Let's see if we can turn this into a plated dessert.
To a
Have some
plated
fun with
dessert.
it. If you
That's
ever
a
say-
dessert. I'm all,
You're like,
all for.
plated dessert. I'm sorry.
No. We're all for that. That's my dessert.
I'm sure there's a tomato basil cheese somewhere.
Question, will you be sharing the recipes?
Never.
There
Yes, of
are
course.
recipes.
We are gonna have a little folder of recipes from specifically the cooking spot. So look out for that. We'll send it as soon as we create it, and it'll have all the recipes from a lot of the episodes, most of the episodes, okay? If not future episodes. What if I want to get fancy with it? Because I want to show my mom I'm going to culinary school. Okay. Say I work at Chef, you messed it up.
I was trying to get it in frame. I was
You
trying to get
messed
in the
it
camera.
up. Say I
Again,
work somewhere, I don't know, at a fancy airport gastropub or something. Just grilled cheese on the menu.
look at that.
Okay. Serve it with a beautiful wine. You can charge up to, I would even charge up to 15, 16 bucks for this. Sorry. Doesn't translate from that angle. But overhead, right? We have house-made sauce, our house-made pesto, our house-made focaccia. So why wouldn't you elevate this from a soup to maybe an appetizer, right? And that's what we want you to think about when you don't think of the items just as they were, elevate them and put your own spin on it, right? If I know that it's hot in Texas, but people
Very.
love the idea of tomato basil and grilled cheese, can I serve grilled cheese tomato basil bites? Right? Maybe add some heirloom tomatoes here and make yourself an appetizer, right? From simple ingredients. It doesn't have to be very fancy. However, you can also serve it traditionally. And you saw it chunky. Now you're gonna see it in a nice puree. Right? And then where's our oil?
Now we're gonna vote again.
You did dots, right?
Chunk. I did a swirl-ish.
It's hard to do dots with this one.
I know. I was hoping that they did zigzag because I'm like, I'm all up for zigzag. See?
Okay. And then we do
Where were you earlier, Brittany?
Brittany.
I know.
Oh no, wait, is there parm here? Yes. Let's do it up.
Look at
Okay, can do something like that. And
that. A little bit of Parmesan.
come on.
Gotta find the right piece.
Right, and super dramatic herb. Okay? So again, start thinking the zigzag, the good old zigzag.
Good old.
Ziggy-zaggy, just ziggy-zaggy, chef, right? We're thinking symmetry, we're thinking expressive, bold, we're thinking art, right? That's part of our gesture too as chefs. Not only do we have to know how to cook, we have to learn how to present because we eat with our eyes, right?
Absolutely.
So 3 ways of this tomato basil soup with our with our basil, okay? Can you do it with any other herb? Absolutely. Okay. Any questions?
Comments.
Swirl. Awesome. If you don't, we will see you at the next cooking spot. The next cooking spot, chef is going to entail
We're gonna be in 2 weeks. We're gonna try to keep it just about every 2 weeks.
2 or
We're
3
gonna make a
weeks.
couple adjustments in in November. We're going to kind of do some back-to-backs because I am not going to be here. Right? We are not going to be here during the Thanksgiving break, right? And we're going to give you a break. Before that, we're going to be working on 2 weeks back-to-back, right? So 2 weeks from today is what? What in 2 weeks? We'll be back.
It's gonna be in.
Give us some feedback. Let us know what you want us to be making.
That's right.
2 weeks, the first? That sounds about right.
I can tell you we're working on some segments for Halloween, for Dia de los Muertos, for some holiday segments right before Thanksgiving. We're going to be talking about pies. We're going to be talking about sides, maybe. So if there's a topic that you guys want to talk us or want us to address or watch us try to tackle, we would love any ideas that interest you.
Let us know.
Okay. Other than that, thank you guys so much for showing up, and I hope you enjoyed our take on the Basil Takeover. That's what we should have called it, Basil Takeover. And if you have any questions regarding starting your own herb gardens, also shoot us emails or comments on how to get that started. Okay?
Absolutely.
Thank you all so much. Until next time, thank you so much. We'll see you.
You have yourself a
Bye.
great day.